October 28th, it is 7:17 p.m. Everyone please rise, put your hand over your heart and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Fiscal officer will take the roll.
Berger.
Here.
Canton.
Here.
Kavanaugh. Here. Lewis.
Here.
Porter.
Here.
Powell.
Here.
All right, we have minutes from the October 14th regular council meeting. Any changes or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve? Moved by Canton, seconded by Porter. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We have visitors. Carrie Schlotz from the Safe Bicycle and Pedestrian Transportation Survey. Carrie, the floor is yours. You know the usual, stand, give your address, give you 5 minutes, 3 minutes in, I'll give you 2-minute warning. Floor is yours. Name and address again.
Hi, I'm Carrie Schloss, 290 Vickery Hill Road. And in your packets, there's a survey that we put together as the Committee for Safe Bicycle and Pedestrian Transport. And just a reminder, the goal of our committee is to plan for safe bicycle and pedestrian transport through community engagement, safety education, and infrastructure improvements. And as such, one of our primary duties is to engage the community and learn from the community to be able to bring the voices forward of the South Russell residents and community members and bring that to council. And so we developed a survey. We've had a public committee meeting where we got feedback on this committee, or on the survey and the questions, and we've incorporated that feedback into the survey that you have received. And so we're here today to ask you all to approve the survey, and so we can start getting it out to the community and learning from them. Just a bit about what our intent is with this survey. Our intent is to provide information to council and the mayor about the desire of the community members to walk, bike, and run in South Russell and the safety barriers that the community perceives to doing so. Also to support the development of a phased action plan for pedestrian and bicycle transport through understanding the level of community support or opposition to different types of projects in different locations. Also to provide insights from the survey to identify projects to propose for existing funding sources or to identify future funding opportunities that have community support. And then if we were to, if the council and the village were to want to apply for grant applications, the results of the survey could be used as content to provide information on perceived safety barriers of the community. Thank you.
Okay. Questions about the survey as such, just questions that you see there. Distribution would be something we talk about also. Chris, you want to talk?
One question about the survey. There was a question about the crosswalk going to the park in Alderwood. I think we're moving forward with that.
We are.
So I don't know if you want to strike that from the survey. Because that is going to be done next, it's supposed to be this year, but next year.
Okay.
Suggestion.
So you've made progress already.
Done.
Week 2.
How would it be distributed? How would you gather or send them out and get them back?
We're hoping to use a multifactorial approach. So we want to use social media and the newsletter that's sent by email. We have some ideas about trying to post some QR codes throughout the community. So the farmers markets, some of the surrounding businesses over in Washington, and at the park here. So we've talked about a few different directions, maybe even reaching out to some of the sports teams that practice at Gurney and just any kind of, we're looking for advice and suggestions, but those are some of the ideas.
One of the things when we did a survey before, we weren't sure that the people responding were from South Russell. Is that an issue since the park is more used by people from many different communities?
We're actually hoping that to survey the broader community. South Russell Village we see as a part of a broader community. Gurney Elementary, for example, is in South Russell, but it's part of the whole Sugar Falls School District. People are using the park who are coming from Sugar Falls and from other places. And Also, people who work in the South Russell businesses don't always live in South Russell and have a lot of ideas about making their ability to cross the road to get lunch, safer for them. And so we've heard from all community members who frequent and use South Russell infrastructure that there's a lot of ideas out there. And so we really want to get a broad scope.
I understand that, but when it all boils down, it's the South Russell residents that are going to be footing the bill. Am I correct?
A large part of it,
Yeah,
say possibly,
yeah. So if there, I don't know if you could just ask a question like, where do you live, or do you live in South Russell? It would have to be real general.
We have a couple questions that get at that. The first question is, what community do you live in?
Okay.
And then the second one is, what are your cross streets? And then we do ask if you work in South Russell, own a business, have a kid who attends school. So if people answered no, we could understand a little bit more about, how often they're frequenting South Russell. So we could divide the results in different ways to see like, this is what the residents are thinking, this is what the broader community is thinking, and be able to provide that information in that way.
Because I get it. We cross the county line when we go to Philomathian School or the high school.
we have approximately 180 businesses, almost all of them along East Washington. We have 1,400 homes, and on the maybe we have, 700, 800 people signed up for the newsletter,
On the e-blast, we now have almost 1,200.
1,200. There's no guarantee. Those are
No
homes that,
guarantees with the residents.
what's your thought about snail mail? Mailing it to every household and to every business.
I suppose did you pay for, or how does that work? That's the only
Good question.
possible, I could imagine that may add some costs. But it may reach a broader audience, which we would definitely be in support of.
Tell you what I'll do. I'll contact NOACA with, if they're giving us 800,000, is this the legitimate expense of that $800,000? I have to talk to them anyway about if we hire CT to do it. So that'd be something to look into. That should not take, that could get done this week. I should get an answer back.
Yeah, we did talk about having some paper options for folks. So, yeah,
Counselor, you want to think about this? I think we're back here in 2 weeks.
Are we talking about postage or what?
Yeah, I'd like to find out if NOACA says, oh yeah, you can mail this out to everybody.
Do we want to include a return envelope and?
Yeah, we'd go big time.
so,
Probably have somebody do that. We could hire somebody.
Well, in the meantime, should we think about approving or not approving the survey as is, so they can start using it in digital platforms or in person?
If nobody has any objections to the survey itself, I think we
No.
take a motion
No, I'm
and get that part started.
Sure. I'd like to make a motion. Well, I kept a pause on that. I'm making a motion for the committee to do an action, but we need to add more committee members, right?
Oh, you only have one.
I'm officially the only committee member, so it's kind of weird.
Correct.
Should we add people before I make a motion for it?
I think that would be best.
That's probably the best time. I rescind the beginning of the motion. Okay, should we move to that subject then?
Yeah.
Committee members?
No, I thought you were making a motion to,
I'm holding off on that motion for
Okay.
approving the thing.
right?
Let's add some committee members first, and then I'll do a motion to approve.
Okay.
The committee to do the work.
Membership of the committee and then go.
Right.
Okay.
The committee is one right now, it's not really officially a committee.
Yeah.
Short meeting. Names for people, you read at the meeting, I didn't attend, it's a terrible committee member, of the unofficial committee. Do you have names you're advising who might be great attendees or participants?
We do.
Okay.
We haven't discussed with them about being official members, so can do.
We can add more at a later
We
date.
can add more.
There are a few who might be aware.
What about us? Are we allowed
Kelly?
to-
Yeah.
Can I nominate myself?
Kelly, yes, and the question for Carrie is not a resident, is that correct?
Correct.
Correct.
So can a non-resident work on an ad hoc committee?
Absolutely.
I nominate Carrie Schloss.
Congratulations or sympathies. Okay,
Now we have 3 committee members.
No, we have shortly, we make a motion to add them as committee members?
And then you can add more committee members once you check with other people and their willingness to serve. But we have 2 people to join your committee.
Oh, yeah, it's part of it.
So really quick, the committee members are Carrie, Kelly, and Chris.
That
That's not good. So I'll make a motion to add Carrie Schloss and Kelly Hess as members of the Safe Bicycle and Pedestrian Transport Committee of the Village of South Russell.
second.
moved and seconded, discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Congratulations.
Is there a maximum number of committee members?
You have to at least have 2 under the Ohio Revised Code.
Okay, so now we have 3.
It's fine.
Now it's
I think we
officially official.
suggested 7 at one point. So I don't know that we ever formalized that.
And we don't have, like in the park committee where we have an actual number
Yeah.
that we have to meet, we do not have that in the ad hoc. It can be up to you. Now, keep in mind, if you have that many, sometimes it's tough to get a quorum.
Yeah.
But, just consider that.
Okay, so in the meantime, you can discuss with other people who might officially be on said committee or just visitors who participate. That's a good point about the quorum. All right, next I'd like to make a motion approving the proposed survey of the Safe Bicycle and Pedestrian Transport Committee of South Russell. So they may start distributing it digitally, person to person, and any other methods as they choose.
Been moved. Do we have a
Second.
second? Second by Kavanaugh. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, you are now on the committee and you now have permission to get this survey going. And I will try to find out this week if snail mail is an option. I think just looking at 1,400 homes and 180 businesses, this is something that we could hire out. If NOACA says it could be hired out, it'd save a lot of work.
That might be the fastest government that's ever worked.
All right, thank you for being here, but feel free to move on. All right, we're at the mayor's report. Came back from Columbus, and I got this mail that went to the wrong address from Yellow Light. This is the run it around forever and ever, and it still has the indemnification on it. So, I don't know what to do. I mean, I sent them the old one, I scratched out the old one.
Did they
How
sign
about we
it?
talk afterward, okay?
Sure.
I mean, I just got this thing and it's like, you gotta be kidding me. Okay, next thing, we got a public records request on phone records. I don't know how to do this. Can anybody give me 20 seconds on how do you go back and find your phone records where I would have talked to a village official? How do we do that?
Are you talking your cell phone or your house phone?
It
I
would
know
be-
cell phones, like if you went to Verizon and went online, you can print every call made. I don't know about home lines.
So okay, okay.
Yeah, it's a call detail record.
Yeah.
Wow.
You
Okay.
can get them by subpoena if need be.
Oh, all right. Next, the Veterans Breakfast is coming up on Monday. I know that we are closed as a village, but if you're planning on attending, just show up. It's at 9 o'clock Monday. We have representatives from Congressman Joyce. Geauga County will be there. I've invited the 2 ladies who run the Geauga Veterans Food Pantry. They're coming because I've already lined them up. They're going to be the guest speakers next year. But it's a pretty good event. It'll be over by 9:30 if you have to move on or to do something else.
What time does it start, Mayor?
It's going to start at 9 in the morning, Ruth.
What date?
It's Veterans Day, November the 11th. Um,
Oh, no.
And if you've never been there before, it's, you come in, I've tried to get the 4 Girl Scouts who did the Pledge of Allegiance at the Chagrin Falls Memorial Day Parade. Problem now, those kids went from 8th grade to high school, and it's a lot tougher to get out of class. But one of the waitresses at the Sleepy Rooster also sings professionally. She has performed at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, so she'll do some singing. We have Joe Royer's going to sing. Bill O'Neill from the VFW is going to talk. Should be a pretty good event. And again, you'll be out there by 9:30. All right, that's it for the mayor's report. Questions of the mayor? Pardon me, earlier I mentioned that we were in Columbus, Dennis, Ruth and I. So at the council meeting on November the 25th, we will make a presentation to you on what we picked up at the Ohio Municipal League workshop. Fiscal officer, the floor is yours.
I distributed a report to mayor and council. I don't know if there are any questions. The other thing, before you tonight, I did place a certificate of availability of local funds for the Hemlock Road culvert. So there's legislation for you to pass later, and then if you can make a motion, I think the finance committee is going to ask for that, for me to sign the certifying the funds will be available for that project. That's all I have.
Questions of the fiscal officer? Hearing none, the finance committee.
So let's start with the motion to approve the fiscal officer to sign the certification of availability of local funds in the amount of $46,200 even for the Hemlock Road Culvert Fund. So moved.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Thank you, Chris. Floor is yours.
I need a motion to acknowledge receipt and review of the credit card report from October 28, 2024.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes.
Okay. I have a motion to approve the reimbursement to an employee for software purchase in the amount of $144 even.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes.
On my calendar, I have the next finance committee meeting on November 14th at 9 a.m. Or excuse me, at 10 a.m. Should be.
Okay,
And subject to comments of Councilman Malicki, that concludes the report.
None, thanks.
none? Okay, questions of the finance committee. Solicitor, the floor is yours.
I have nothing to report.
Nothing to report. Questions of the solicitor. Street committee, floor is yours.
Street Committee, we are scheduled next to meet on Thursday, November the 21st, 7:30 a.m. in the Streets Department office. Pending anything from Councilman Porter, that's all I have. Well, that's great.
Questions of the street committee. Building committee,
Building Committee is scheduled to meet next on November 14th, 2024 at 8 a.m. in the Building Department. And subject to anything from Councilman Cannon, that's all I have.
I have nothing to add.
Good. That's it.
questions of the building committee. Hearing none. Chief, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Circling back to our conversation regarding the dispatch issue, we are also, again, talking about the CBD IT contract. If there is a good chance that we would be moving dispatch services, we would also look to cancel that IT contract. There is a 90-day cancellation term. If we choose to do so, we can start that process now. We would only have to pay 1 month into January. If something changes, for example, we can cancel that cancellation. My question is, would council like to start that process?
So this is the ADP thing?
No, well, this is the Sugar Valley IT
I see,
support.
okay.
So if we cancel our IT contract now, we would only have to pay into January. So November, December, January, so there's a 90-day cancellation. In the event, for some reason, we do stay with CBD, we could just cancel that cancellation request.
Correct.
So who provides IT services after January 31st?
We would go to, ADP.
As part of the
Yeah,
process?
we would still be covered under CBD until the end of January.
Okay.
We would have plenty of time to make the transition. So if we're going in this direction, we may want to look to consider canceling that so that we're not paying into March and April for IT services, because we know we may be paying the dispatch contract through the year.
Wasn't there some issues with ADP in the police department, or am I just
We
remembering?
remained with CBD, we were being dispatched by CBD, we chose to stay with CBD IT for that purpose.
I thought, ADP was providing other services in the village.
They are.
Yeah, they handle all the other computers.
So what we would do is we would latch on to the other buildings, Village Hall, Building Department, Service Department. We're getting proposals to connect the service building to the police building, creating a network for all three buildings. That's in the process. That was in that report that I gave, where we would ultimately still be saving. We would go from 15,000 a year to about 2,200 a year.
I think what I was getting at is we had trouble with ADP. Didn't we?
Well,
Yeah.
In the beginning, yeah.
we definitely struggled to start with.
How are they to work with to get out of the struggle?
Yeah, well, after all of the, the transition, troubles we had, we got back on track. We're still working on a few bugs in the system, but ultimately, they are the ones who support the Geauga County Sheriff. So it would be, beneficial for us to be on that as well. We could certainly continue with CD or any other IT provider. It just wouldn't make sense for us to go to another IT provider when we're already with Geauga County with the majority of the village. And again, the cost, the significant difference in cost would be another huge savings for us going forward.
Can I suggest, because we're sort of midstream here, we haven't had the conversation yet with CBD. I don't know if it's possible, can we send them a notice of intent without giving them an actual cutover date? No earlier than January 31st?
How about I just contact the head of CBD, say as a member of the executive committee, we want to talk about leaving.
Okay.
Okay.
I just think we need to get that resolved.
The chief's point is if we do it tonight,
Yeah,
we have a 90-day clock
Window,
going. And then January comes, the end of January, if we do it at our next council meeting, we're going into February.
okay.
You know what I mean? So it's costing us more money.
Right.
But you're still within the 90-day window.
We would still be within the 90-day window. So, again, we can give notice, as early as, November 1st or October 31st. And have 90 days to, switch back or change our minds. But then the clock starts ticking. And if we do make the transition, in December, let's say, then we're not going to continue to have to pay the IT contract, well into 2025.
So if we act tonight, we save a little more money.
Yeah.
And then we can rescind and give notice of termination if we want to.
We'll make it later.
Yeah.
Right. Assuming that CBD will allow us to rescind.
Correct. True, that's true.
I
I
mean,
mean, you're talking about the whole contract.
no, I'm talking about the IT contract.
Which is a separate contract, yes. Our IT services contract, the one that I have is from 2023, and I think that's the most recent.
Correct. And that's a 90-day termination.
They have to accept it?
No, but I mean, it says the agreement may be terminated by either party without cause at the end of the initial term, which by the way, they never had an initial term, or at any time thereafter upon 90-day written notice. So, I mean, they don't have to accept it, no, but I don't see that, I don't know that, all I'm saying is I wouldn't necessarily rely on the fact that, yes, we can rescind this. I think that's always an option.
We did, for a while, Village Hall was
Yes.
off on that, and we were able to rescind it, but I'm not saying they would accept it now. I'm saying-
No, you guys canceled it, right, for Village
Right.
Hall? Yes, I remember that.
Okay, so if we issue the notice of termination this month, it's better than waiting. And we can pull it back if we need to. Okay.
So is a motion required?
I think so.
Yep. Chris, you want to do that?
Motion to rescind, I'm sorry. Motion to give notice to terminate the IT portion of of a contract with Chagrin Valley Dispatch, with notice effective October 31st and the 90-day provision effective January 31st, 2025. So moved.
Moved and seconded. Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Anything else for the chief? Hearing none, safety. Well,
Electrical upgrade, how's that going?
Oh, yes, the electrical upgrade was completed on Friday. Everything is now converted over to the 200 amp service. I put a request to Dean Hain from First Energy requesting a work order be completed so that we can do the solar panel meter swap. That is forthcoming. I do not have an answer from him yet, but all of the wiring is done. We're hooked up. We're ready to go. It's just a matter of First Energy coming out and a quick inspection by Dave Hocevar to inspect the final product. We should be able to get this done within the next few weeks, less or less.
Then we can
Depends on
apply for
first.
the money, Daniel, I think. Thank
Depends
you.
on how quick First Energy is able to do their work.
And you'll let me know, someone will let me know when everything's done, so I can apply for that.
any other questions of the chief? Yes. Where on your job description does it say handle construction projects and solar panels?
I do everything.
CT.
I do everything.
And you
Chief
can't-
is
Whatever you need me to do, I'll take care of it.
It's down in the whole nine.
I would say the chief is a very stunning individual.
All right. Safety committee, you're up.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Safety will meet once again on November 14th, 9 a.m. at our police station. Councilman Galecki, anything to add?
The only question I have is the whole discussion about the contract with Chagrin Valley Dispatch. Is it council's intent that the mayor address the executive committee in the attempt to get out of the contract? And is a motion required on that? Okay.
I think that's preferable if that's what council wants the mayor to do.
So open for discussion in terms of, is it council's intent that the mayor go forward to try and negotiate our departure from the contract?
Is there a possibility that since there's more than one governmental entity looking in the other direction, is that a possibility that might make the dispatch take a long look at this and maybe do something special with their demands?
Well, Jerry, the demands are already under contract, so it's a done deal. We're the only participating municipality that has an option of at least leaving at this time. Others are investigating, maybe forming their own dispatch or going with independent dispatches that are in existence right now. So, I know that unity has effort. I mean, if the mayor approached the executive committee, it might prompt the other mayors that are involved to say, hey, you guys didn't give us a great deal either.
Now, we did give the mayor the okay to address that committee and earlier, correct?
No, we didn't do anything officially. Dennis is getting ready for a motion.
I'm just wondering if we needed a motion. It almost seemed like the mayor was reticent to approach the executive committee and plead our case, so to speak. So I'm just looking for other opinions of council members here.
That's not the proper perception of me, that I'm not reticent to approach this at all. Chief and I talked a couple months ago, let's take a look at the Geauga County. So we're doing that, and we're gonna go there.
Well,
No, it's not that perception of me.
Okay, but please excuse me, Mayor, but, I agree that, at the safety committee meeting and finance committee meeting, It appeared like you were fully behind it, and today you thought that you got blindsided. So with the proposal to do this, so I'm just confused.
Let's be fair. I came into the safety committee late. The discussion was ongoing, and I said, let's keep it ongoing because we're looking into it. I was at the finance committee for about 2 minutes.
So then maybe a motion from council
Yes.
for the mayor to approach the executive committee of the Chagrin Valley Dispatch with the goal of negotiating a departure of South Russell from Chagrin Valley Dispatch, with the exception of dispatch for fire services. Does that sound right?
Yes.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Amendment.
Sure.
With an eye towards something less than a 12-month continuation of the agreement and the costs associated therewith.
If we go back, if we go to a situation where we're just paying for fire dispatch,
Right.
and if
Which
the
is-
mayor succeeds in that, doesn't that solve the problem of police?
Chris's point is that if we had the opportunity to opt out, let's say this was July 31st, Chris's point is we would only be obligated for 6 months. I think I followed.
July 1st.
July 1st.
So right now, here's the problem we have. If we go to them and say we want to leave from a police standpoint, we are committed to continuing to pay CBD for police dispatch.
Fire.
And
No,
I
police.
apologize.
And police through December 31st, 2025.
that's correct.
No, my motion is just to go from Chagrin Valley Dispatch for South Russell Police and Fire
Right?
to Chagrin Valley Dispatch for fire.
I mean, I think that may have been your motion, but I think that the intent though is, right, that we're still gonna be paying for that police dispatching
No,
and
I'm talking
fire
about
dispatch.
Effective like as soon as possible.
Right.
But that's what Chris'
Oh, I
amendment is about.
What is that?
My-
As soon as possible.
But my concern is that if we are continuing to pay CBD for police and we're not using them, I mean, that's wasted money.
Yeah.
And and if they come back and say, well, we really can't let you go until December 31st of 2025, would that change council's opinion? Is that whether we would move to Geauga now or we would wait and move to Geauga at the end of next year?
Effective January 31st, 2025,
Yeah,
the same date we're leaving, presumably.
okay. But that would have to be negotiated with CBD, and that's an exception to their contract,
Oh, I'm sure.
yeah, which would require their executive council to vote and all that good stuff. But I'm just saying, we want to go with the proposal that we leave, but we don't want to go with the proposal that we leave and we continue to pay for it.
Oh, no. I mean, if they would let us out earlier than
Yes.
January 31st, 2025, great.
Hey, if they let me out November 30th, 2024, even better. But I don't think they'll do that.
Hence the as soon as possible language.
Yes, okay.
Let's
We're agreed.
let's be careful on this one. Solicitor, can somebody tell me exactly what we're gonna vote on?
Good luck with that. But I have the, I have basically notes. It was negotiate and South Russell departure from Chagrin Valley Dispatch for police.
Effective as soon as possible.
For police only.
Yeah, for police only.
Okay, can you read it one more time so that we all understand it?
Negotiate the South Russell departure from Chagrin Valley Dispatch effective ASAP for police department only.
It's been moved and
We already have a second.
it's been seconded. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. If I get us out early, do I get an attaboy, Mr. Berger?
I'll even buy you lunch.
Anything else from Safety Committee?
I would insist on Morton's.
Questions of the Safety Committee?
I'll find Morton's if he gets me out of.
We're at the HR Committee.
HR met on October 21st. We discussed a number of things. We had Mr. Berger's continuing policy proposals, the 24-1 through 24-6, and he is making progress along with the solicitor, as I understand it. We had a deep discussion on health insurance costs, and Danielle has spent time on this. There's going to be a net raise with Medical Mutual, and I printed it incorrectly. I put 4.8, it's 4.48, correct, for our 17 employees. The deductibles, I'm gonna just read the one sentence. Deductibles are $3,500/$7,000 for a family. The village contributes to the HSA account, taking away $2,000/$4,000 per family, and therefore lowering the employee cost. The village will continue reimbursement for employees who get an annual checkup done of $250. We discussed raises, and Danielle had printouts for us from 2.75 up to, I believe, 3.5. And that's what we did, is discuss them. The Holiday Village Luncheon, put this on your calendars, will be held Friday, December 13th. That's a Friday the 13th.
We
Not
think, because we're not being able to book it, so the date's already booked with a couple of them, so we're working on it. We'll have a date by the
All
next meeting.
TBD.
Yes.
Okay. And that's what's going on.
Where are we going?
We don't know, we're still working on it.
So we have a date and nothing more.
We had a date of December 13th, but that was booked, and we're waiting for the other place to get back to us. So as soon as I know, I'll send some.
All
Okay.
to be determined then. Okay.
I mean, it's still October, but
All right. Chris Berger, do you want to add more?
So, I'd like to make a motion to approve renewing the village healthcare plan with Medical Mutual at 4.48%.
Second.
Discussion.
I just want to let council know that the initial return was at 7.48%, and they offered us a 3% discount if we didn't shop the account. So I'm letting you know that.
And then the other thing is the deductibles changed per IRS.
Right. Those deductibles change. But the other interesting thing is I happen to have Medical Mutual for my wife and I, and our increase was 0.02%. And they offered to go back and argue with them to try to get it lower. And I was like, don't screw that up, just keep it.
it may have been a typo. I don't know
Yeah,
why.
yeah, I'm pretty sure it was. I've never seen an increase that low. So, but 4.48% is good for group renewals, according to everything that I've read. So moved.
We have
No,
first and
I'm-
second.
Yeah, we're first and second, yeah.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Nice job, everyone involved. Danielle,
Motion
were
to,
you surprised? at
I
4.4?
was surprised, especially after what Chris was saying, he heard the going rates were, so.
yeah, they were anywhere from 7 to 15%.
There's so many variables, so like the loss ratio.
Yeah,
sure.
Sure.
All right,
So now we have a motion to approve the $250 annual incentive for employees to get their physical exams for 2025.
Second.
discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
We'd just like to note that I think we had 100% participation.
Last year. And
Last
this
year.
is the busy time, everybody will get.
So everybody's getting theirs this year, but we raised that from 100 to 250, and that seemed to move the needle on that one. Okay, so I'll put this out as a motion and for discussion, and that is a motion to consider pay increases for the village effective January 1, 2025 of 2.75%. So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
How was that arrived at?
So we use SERB, SERB, which is
State Employees Relations Board or something.
board, right? And it collates all of the both union and non-union increases, and it looks at them by city versus rural, township versus county, et cetera, et cetera. And so in our category, over the last 10 years, the average increase has been, I think I saw it at 2.43%. So that given, we looked at those numbers and thought that 2.75 made sense. And now it's council's decision what they want to do.
The recollection is we also looked at the CPI, and I imagine the committee looked at that as well.
And we did, CPI is running right now at 2.8%. Now, the problem with the CPI is it excludes two major costs, food and fuel.
Yep.
Okay, so food costs are still up at the grocery store. Fuel costs dip below $3 a gallon.
Okay.
So
See what happens after the election.
What do we pay for individual health care for our workers?
100%,
100%, what's that, what is that number
Oh.
per month?
$1,600 a
No,
month.
for it was single
Single.
person, what I think is like 817.
Okay,
A month?
a month, 800.
You're asking me off the top.
Right, yeah. Family,
It's double that.
it's double that, and we're paying 100%.
Yes, 100%. So now they have a deductible that's mandated, that's what you talked about, the $3,500 and it's single and 7,000 family. But the village contributes
2 and 4.
2,000 and 4,000.
Plus, they
So-
receive a $250 a year bonus for a physical, plus we pay for their work apparel, right, for clothes.
Some,
Some, okay.
I mean, not everybody. It differs depending on department, but, you know, I look at the healthcare benefit as a huge component
Oh, yeah.
of the compensation plan, and the fact that it's a zero copay, if you will, is a significant benefit to the employees.
2.75, that sounds good.
That, I mean, that's the number we came up with, but again, I'll cede the council's better judgment.
Okay,
Well, it's been moved and seconded, right?
discussion, over? All
So
those in
listen,
favor?
one
Go
question.
ahead.
Because this is across the board, I don't have to recuse, correct?
That's correct.
All right.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 2.75. Okay, anything else for HR?
Not for me.
That's it for HR. I'll have to give you a date on a meeting at a later time, and I'll put it on the calendar. Go ahead, properties?
Oh, no, hang on. For an HR committee, we're bringing on a new part-time employee next Monday. Next Monday. I think it'd be a good idea if the people who are going to use her would get something in writing so that we know what we're talking about. This employee looks very good, but I think it'd be nice to know. And for example, here's things that I'm going to have her do. Prepare a letter to the Bell Road residents about the culvert that's going to go in and the repaving. That would be everybody basically from Schneider Road to the Newberry line. I want her to do a report on the Fall Festival. We're relying probably too much on volunteers and everything from phone numbers to opinions. So I want her to contact everybody with the Fall Festival and go through and get a report so we know what's it costing us, what we've done, what's been successful, what's been a failure. I'm asking her to survey the community through the newsletter, finding out about Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts who have received either the gold, which is the girls, or the Eagle Scout. I'd like to create a plaque that hang, frankly, probably right over there. Maybe it's time to move the winter scene out. A plaque which would have the names of any resident who did an Eagle Scout, anybody who did a Scout project in the village, or someone, yes, that's it. They asked for a brief description and the date. So basically, we'd be looking at a plaque that would have Joe Jones, 2006. And that's all it would be. We would not have the description on the plaque, but it's just something. And the last thing I'm going to ask her to do is the America 250th birthday. There's an application. There's possibly $5,000. Got a bunch of different activities. But what I'm basically looking at is give these to her. Tell her, I'm thinking on what I'm looking at is probably something with the holidays is something like, by January 1, can you come up with all this information? I don't think she'll have enough information from the Scouts, but we'd have to go out and dig. But just, this gives her something to do if there's ever downtime, and it also gives her something to show her skills. So that's my thought, and for other people who are going to use her, I suggest you consider doing the same thing.
Mayor, really quick,
Yes.
I think on the ordinances tonight, there's the job description, right? So this new employee will be reporting to the fiscal officer and police chief, is that right?
Please.
When she's over at,
No, my question is, on the job description, it says reports to fiscal officer and police chief. Is that accurate?
Right.
Okay. So I mean, I think these are great ideas. I think though we should be just careful, make sure that we're going through the chains of command as to what duties. should be
Okay, I'll work on this.
let me ask a question.
Yeah.
Did we not say that when she's over at building or streets, that she'd report to Tim?
You may have said that, but that's not on your job
It's
description
not in the
tonight.
job description.
Okay, so then we keep it as is?
Well, if she's gonna work in all three departments.
Okay.
Then we should
all three
include it.
department heads should be listed.
Okay.
She's going to work on all four.
Question on that, who does her annual review?
Great question.
That's a lot of bosses.
It
I
is.
don't know,
Yeah.
because she's
The
got,
way it was formulated was that the fiscal officer and the police chief would do her review. Okay? Since the fiscal officer is responsible in many ways for finding the backup at the building department and providing that support, I would suggest that leaving it with the fiscal officer for that area is probably appropriate, because I agree with Chris, too many chiefs spoil the broth.
when it comes to evals, you'd have to do your police part, wouldn't you?
Yeah, well, that's why the two of them, because there are unique requirements specific to the police department.
So backing up a little bit, I was looking for an administrative assistant or police clerk. Danielle was looking for somebody in two separate positions, two separate individuals. When Danielle was researching her administrative assistant, she came across Christy, who had experience with juvenile court. That was the reason I decided that, okay, we're going to shy away from our own individual person, and we were going to share Christy with Danielle's office. So that's kind of the only reason the PD is involved at this level. But beyond that, I don't want to overwhelm her by any stretch. So I know there's a lot of work to be done in the building department, primarily her learning the resources in the building department, and Danielle has a greater need. So I would probably be less demanding on her, but that's how it started. That's where we all kind of came
So
into
then
play.
you're willing to have Danielle do the eval?
Yeah, and either way, if we still decide we're both going to be her, report, then I'll certainly, take care of an evaluation as well.
Okay,
No issues here.
then leave it as is.
Who does Ruth's evaluation?
I do.
Because there is no building department chair.
Actually, though, and that might be true, but aren't we looking to change that? Because technically, we're talking about Ruth Griswold, she reports to the mayor and council.
Yeah,
So we have to, and same with Danielle.
right.
So those are the two that were kind of different than a couple of others.
Mhm.
My concern with all this is we keep her busy.
She's gonna be
Well,
busy.
I'm
she's
sorry, is it
part-time,
what?
Mhm.
so,
busy.
I think
Well,
she'll
if
be
you give me a
busy.
list of what you
I think-
need, then.
Yes.
yeah, I
Of
think-
course, she's gonna be plenty busy.
a list with target dates is the when you want the stuff done. And then Danielle can work that out with Christy and with Leslie and with the chief in terms of time available and try to make that happen and come back to you if there are changes that need to be made.
Okay? Anything, Ruth, property?
Property. The bathrooms are ordered. And we got sketches, we had feedback from the CXT. So, ordered to be delivered, that still has to be figured out.
April,
I hope so.
Questions, Jerry, anything, property or parks? Ruth, the minutes that you did for the October 21st meeting
For,
for the park committee minutes,
that was, Martha did them.
Martha did these? Okay,
Yeah.
these are Martha, okay. Anyhow, a very interesting hour discussion, and it's a very nice job of getting all those opinions down.
Yeah, well, that was a very good meeting that we had with Rich Washington, Pete McDonald, us, Park Committee, and I'm gonna say it wrong, the psychopath
People?
women that were here tonight. There were a lot of ideas came up, and we're gonna go forward and have another meeting sometime between Thanksgiving and Christmas. But, for example, the burn question, which the mayor and I are very pro with that. The mow and let it sit, not so much. But Rich Washington you can tell this guy is, he's very sharp and very good at what he does. And he has some big suggestions for what we do with our park. One of the things that, it was a visitor from Daisy Lane. She said, we kind of need some more trees in the middle there because it's really hot when you're walking. And I said, yes, I have noticed that in the summertime. We could use another tree or two. So these were all discussed, and they'll get cemented more as factual things that we do as we go on. I thought it was a great meeting.
We had Pete McDonald, who represents the West Reserve Land Conservancy. He was able to say, yeah, you can do that, no, you can't do that. It was nice to have all those people there.
Mhm.
Questions of the Parks Committee? Public Utilities Committee?
Yes, we met last Friday, October 25th. I apologize, I met with the minutes. It was just Mark and I, and we had a good discussion about where we are on issues, most notably the solar panels and all of the work being done associated with that. We will meet, I have on my schedule, November 8th at 9 a.m.
That's fun.
And that's all we have to report.
What date? November,
8th is a Friday.
we move it to the next Friday?
Yep. We can do that.
Thanks, sorry,
Not a problem. 15th.
15th it is.
You schedule these meetings, just so you know I can't be there, right?
You know, I work very hard at that.
they call Nancy.
We're supposed to do that.
Yeah, let's-
All right, we are now at ordinance resolutions. I had wanted to be at the last Public Utilities Committee meeting, but you moved it, knowing that I would be in Columbus, so the tabled, that's probably going to be there forever. So we're at the second reading on the connection agreement. Mark is handling this. Please,
Yeah,
please,
go ahead and
second
take the
reading.
second reading. An ordinance approving the interconnection agreement between the Village of South Russell and the Illuminating Company, authorizing the mayor to execute the agreement and declaring an emergency. Second reading.
Okay, Chris, Bell, do you want to do the next one?
Introduce and consider for adoption an ordinance authorizing the mayor to prepare and submit an application for the Village of South Russell to participate in the Ohio Public Works Commission State Capital Improvement and/or Local Transportation Improvement Program for the Hemlock Road Culvert Replacement Project, and to execute contracts as required, declaring emergency, and move to waive further readings.
Second.
Roll call.
Berger,
Aye.
Canton,
Aye.
Kavanaugh,
Aye.
Stuckey,
Aye.
Porter,
Aye.
Val.
Aye. Motion to adopt.
Second.
Berger,
Aye.
Canton,
Aye.
Kavanaugh,
Aye.
Stuckey,
Aye.
Porter,
Aye.
Val.
Aye.
Ordinance passes. This looks like an HR handbook thing. Ruth? Chris?
Yes. Introduce and consider for adoption an ordinance amending Appendix D, job description of the village's employee handbook and declaring an emergency. Move to waive readings.
Second.
Roll call.
Berger,
Aye.
Canton,
Aye.
Kavanaugh,
Aye.
Stuckey,
Aye.
Porter,
Aye.
Val.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Berger,
Aye.
Canton,
Aye.
Kavanaugh,
Aye.
Stuckey,
Aye.
Porter,
Aye.
Val.
Aye.
Ordinance passes. The bills list.
None.
New other.
Berger,
None.
Canton,
None.
Kavanaugh.
The only thing I wanted to bring up, the mayor mentioned that America 250, which I was a little reluctant to get myself involved in until we received such a nice intro to it at OML. So I spoke directly with one of the women that's administering it as part of a committee. And yes, it sounds very good. Part of my reluctance is we didn't exist except as Native Americans here 250 years ago. And so people didn't start moving in. I think Middlefield was around Burton was around 1797. Anything we do is going to start with burials of very elderly Revolutionary soldiers. So there's stuff we can talk about. They talked about real modern stuff like going forward. I'm mired in history. So my thinking is different than what they want to do. But it all brings good attention to municipalities. So looking forward to it.
Doesn't Rarick have a revolutionary?
Yes. Yeah.
And in 1812, I think, as well.
Yes.
Is that all you have, Ruth?
That's it.
Stuckey,
None.
Porter,
None.
Val.
No.
That's everyone.
Okay, executive session. Jerry, can you read this one? And Chris, you have one too, I believe.
For the executive session?
Chris, will you is, I gotta have this one read. Chris, you go first.
Motion to enter into executive session for the purpose of discussing employee compensation pursuant to ORC 121.22G1 and inviting the mayor, fiscal officer, solicitor, and excusing Councilman Boyd.
Okay,
Second. Are we doing them together?
Sorry.
Berger,
Aye.
Canton,
Aye.
Kavanaugh,
Aye.
Stuckey,
Please
I'm
excuse.
sorry, Porter,
Aye.
Val.
Aye.
Okay, read that one.
Now we have a second one.
Yes.
Motion to enter into executive session
do that first.
to consider the employment of a public employee pursuant to section 121.22G1 of the Ohio Revised Code, and to consider the employment of a public employee pursuant to 121.22G1 of the Ohio Revised Code, and to invite into executive session the mayor
And the solicitor.
and solicitor, whoever else council wants to invite.
So hang on. What about Councilman Galecki?
Yeah, so.
Stay for the first part.
So first.
No, the first one is the one that you asked me not to. So you want to reverse the thing, we could do it that way. But that's not what you introduced.
Well, does it
No.
matter?
Oh,
No.
Yes, that way Dennis.
I'm not coming back.
Dennis.
It doesn't matter how we do something.
back in.
No.
He brought up a good point.
Okay.
No,
You did not in the order?
no, just be,
But you do have to
excusing
vote on the first.
Councilman Galicki and inviting the mayor and the solicitor.
Second one we have.
Right, the second one we vote.
Shall we do it all over again?
The first one you voted for regarding the compensation. The second one that you did, we don't have a vote yet.
Good, second.
The only difference is we would not need the fiscal officer for the second motion.
Okay, well then, I mean,
Well, we
that's
can-
fine, you're not inviting her in, that's fine. She's
Correct.
not part of executive session
We
unless
can
you're inviting her in.
excuse Councilman Galicki
Yeah.
in the second motion if you don't mind.
Yes.
I mean, I'm just trying to figure out what you guys are doing. You know, am I staying or am I leaving? So it's up to you.
You're leaving.
Okay, I'm leaving? Okay.
Because I
Sure.
needed
See ya.
a second.
So wait,
Maybe don't get a vote.
You have to vote, Dennis.
What?
so wait a second. There are 3 reasons you're going into executive session. One for compensation of a public employee, is that right?
Yes, what
Okay.
Jerry said.
That
Yes.
was the second one.
That was what.
That was not the first
No,
one. The
second
first one
one.
was what Chris Berger read,
Yes.
Employee compensation.
employee compensation.
Yes.
And to exclude Galicki.
Yes,
Okay, and then the second were 2 motions,
yes.
right? Motion, because you cannot consider, 2 employees at the same time, you actually have to have
Yeah.
separate motions. So the other 2 were to talk about public employee, correct?
Yes,
Okay, and that's all of council,
Mhm.
the mayor,
except the
And that's
fiscal
it.
officer and Councilman Galicki, the second one.
why would we be, okay?
Why would we do?
I'll tell you what, you guys can have them all. It's just too confusing. Maybe I already excused.
All right, so on the second one, Berger.
Aye.
Hinton.
Aye.
Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Galicki's absent. Porter.
Aye.
Bob.
Aye. Okay, so now the chief exits and we shut the doors.
Yes,
Okay.
we're in executive session. Anybody need a break?
No.
It's just not bad.
Power through.
All right.